Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 27 of Stoppage Time Talk. I'm Max Bevington here with my good friend.
Kevin Lou.
Well, Kevin, we're on Zoom today, but it's good to be back for episode 27. Obviously, the World Cup is over. We kind of recapped everything last week, but I do kind of want to devote some time, given that our listeners know that I'm a very devout England fan. And man, we didn't really get to recap the semifinals that much. Obviously, we had a pretty good semifinal between France and Spain. The Spanish team kind of asserted their dominance when we didn't really expect them to. They won 2-0, but man, we had a really, really interesting semifinal between England and Argentina, to say the least, Kevin.
Yeah.
Just such a crazy game. And I mean, England goes ahead and then just sits back. And then Enzo Fernandez, followed by Lautaro Martinez, just have two quick goals that send Argentina to the final there. Obviously, they eventually lost to Spain in the final. We recapped all that last week. But Kevin, just to start off, to recap that semifinal game again a bit before I kind of get into my issues. I mean, just like such a crazy game, right? I mean, like, and I get a lot of credit to Enzo and Lautaro. I mean, that shot by Enzo to tie the game there, that equalizer was a really, really great shot. And then an amazing cross in there by Messi into Lautaro Martinez there for the winning header. I mean, obviously England really collapsed there, but I do want to give some props to Argentina because they have so much like kind of mental resilience and toughness just to come back there like in that situation.
Yeah, that's actually a great part for the mental game, which you probably cannot measure. Even though you are better than a team, you are the better team on paper. Like when it comes to the mental part, everything can be possible. And I think this is one of the mistakes that Thomas Tuchel kind of just underestimate what Argentina, the nature it is. It's been like a lifelong lesson maybe for decades, for the whole centuries, when you play the teams like from South America, like you just cannot undermine their like mental games and stuff. Maybe they are pretty rough in the playing style, maybe they are pretty rough in the tactics and stuff. But when it comes to the late game, you just can't retrieve your offensive line. Like when you take the lead, just
Yeah.
keep that going. Like so I guess it shouldn't be like a mistake. It shouldn't be something. It should be just be like a common sense for European teams or other teams when you play some team from South America or some of the teams from Mexico, because they just use every single aspect of the game to try to compensate their disadvantage, like on paper, maybe just their height, size, and things like that, because they had speed, right? They had the stamina, they had the physicality to try to compensate all that. So I think this is one of the biggest mistake, or you can say this is the only major mistake that Tuchel's made during the game
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
comes
and
to
I
a
want to get
loss.
and like you mentioned, Kevin, I mean, obviously, like England on paper was a better team. They played a lot better through that first 55 minutes until they went up, and then just kind of went back into that really stupid kind of retreat mode and shrunk like they always do. And I do want to kind of, before I just kind of air out some grievances here against the English team, against my squad, I mean, I do want to give a lot of props to Scaloni. And obviously, I mean, like, he's got a very talented squad, but like for a lot of these games, the Argentine team looks like they got outplayed. The defenders, even though, I mean, they've got a good defensive pair there with Romero and Lissandro Martinez. I mean, they're two pretty good players in the Premier League. I mean, Romero's now going to be gone from Spurs, and obviously Lissandro, unfortunately, for my club, for Man United, he just never stays healthy. But like when they play their best and they're not, doing making stupid decisions, because both of them make too many stupid decisions that, rack up yellow cards or even red cards. But they're a very good defensive pair. But like you said, Kevin, I mean, like their defense was really not very good. Their attacking was pretty good with Enzo, Julian Alvarez, and then obviously Messi kind of looked a lot better than we thought he would for this age. But I mean, like Scaloni, I think instilled a lot of mental toughness. I think he handled in-game situations really well. I mean, going down 2-0 to Egypt and then scoring three unanswered, and then obviously giving up the equalizer to the Swiss team, and then kind of taking advantage of then the red card there that the Swiss player got, and then Argentina gets that advantage. But Scaloni, I think, managed a team really well. There were so many times where you finally thought they were going to go out and they didn't, and they managed to kind of do that and just scrap their way all to the final, where even though they got dominated, like kind of in the possession in the finals and by the shots, like they were still pretty close. And if Enzo doesn't get the red card, they have a good chance to win in penalties because they very rarely lose penalty shootouts. Argentina does, but like he said, Kevin, so I'm going to kind of just like get a little bit into my rant here and start with Tuchel. And so to preface, I thought Tuchel managed everything really, really well. I thought he managed, the group stages pretty well. I thought he managed the Mexico game really well. the Norway game, they didn't look terribly inspired, but they kind of found a way to scrap their way to a win. I thought, subbing on Morgan Rogers in the Norway game was really smart. I think starting Morgan Rogers in the Argentina game was really smart, but from minute 55, Anthony Gordon scores a minute 55, and I truly don't know what happened to Thomas Tuchel, what he was thinking after that. Just such a dumb decision to sit back. I mean, how do you think you can sit back from minute 55 to minute 90? It's just such a stupid decision. I mean, the subs in that game were terrible. I mean, right after they score, they just went straight into defense when they took off Gordon, then subbed on Konsa. I mean, bringing off Gordon was just so dumb. The team just went dead on offense and this is a crazy stat, Kevin, that I want to kind of bring up. From minute 66 to minute 84, England only completed two passes. I mean, like two passes. That is so terrible. That's so bad. That's so inexcusable. I mean, they sit back and they tried to load up the back line. The back line still was lost, even when they just parked the bus. I mean, John Stones looked lost. Dan Burn wasn't really a great sub in that game, even though he had some other good games. I mean, like you mentioned, Kevin, it's like I don't did like Tuchel study the game tape of Argentina? Like, I don't think he did based off that. Like, I really don't understand how he can look at what the Argentine team has done and think that parking the bus from minute 55 is a good idea. I mean, like, look at what Egypt did. Look at what the Swiss did. I mean, like, look at what they can do. I mean, like, did he like prepare for the game? Did he look at game tape? Did he like see any performances Argentina's had? Because I don't understand why he thinks that's a good idea. I mean, in the biggest game of the year, I mean, that really, I think, is a fireable offense by Tuchel there. I mean, the FA, the English FA, hired him to win the big games. He gets a bunch of money per year. He has a really big contract. I mean, they can't fire him because they probably owe him so much money. I don't know the details of his contract, but I mean, he's locked into all this money from the English FA. They hired him to win these big games, to get him across a line, not park the bus when they go up, and he just didn't do it. I mean, like, it's truly what like they just parted ways with Southgate for. I mean, like, if you think about it, I mean, like Southgate, I mean, like, parks the bus against Italy from minute two. They lose. Not very good against the quarterfinal in France. They almost tied it. Kane misses the penalty. They lose. They come out offensively dead against Spain. Cole Palmer scores an amazing goal outside the box. Then they go back to trying to park the bus and play to extra time. The Spanish team scores a goal in the final. They lose. I mean, just it's truly ridiculous. I mean, like, why turn into Gareth? You were hired to not be Gareth Southgate. And I give Gareth Southgate a lot of credit. I think he did a lot of positive things. He was just a very bad in-game tactical manager, especially when it came to trying to kind of hold leads like that. I mean, it's like just seems like it's this weird thing of like the English team of just they never ever ever can just hold a lead in a big game. And they just park the bus and F it up, just like screw it up. And I truly don't understand what they're doing. I mean, it seems like the same thing back in the 90s through the early 2000s, just then to Southgate and now to Tuchel. And then when he thought Tuchel was going to be different, I mean, they played so aggressive against Mexico. I mean, they score the early goal with Jude, and then they go right back and get another with Jude. And then even when you thought they might park the bus at 2-1, they end up going up again with Anthony Gordon makes a great aggressive run and gets that penalty, and they were able to go up 3-1. And then just, I mean, I really don't understand what Tuchel's thinking, and I think it really is a fireable offense. I mean, you just have him in that big game. He's there to win the big game. He did the same thing that we've always done, and they failed. I mean, it's the same thing every freaking time since 1966. I mean, the fans booed Tuchel in the third place game against France. Like, they don't want him there. The players have said, like Harry Kane's even, said that they were a little confused and didn't quite understand like the tactics that Tuchel was going for after the goal that put them up. I mean, the players clearly lost some faith in him, even if they don't want to say it outright. The fans hate him as he was booed in the third place game, and the media hate him now. And I just really don't understand like Tuchel's ideas, like you said, Kevin, of thinking that it's a good idea to park the bus with 55 minutes left, and they just shrunk again. And it's the same story again and again and again. And it's just so freaking frustrating to deal with this all the time.
You know what, Max? To make it worse, because you mentioned there's a stats like from 66 to 84 minutes, they only had two passes. I think I also saw that like a similar, like a comparative stats during that frame from Opta. It says following the Argentina first goal, like the tying goal until the end of the game, England only had 12% of the possession during the like most of the time in the second half. So, well, to make it worse, this is not a stat to look to, but to your points, I think like parking the bus is it was not the identity for England to do that, especially when you approach the game like playing Argentina. Like no matter how bad they were, no matter how they're out of shape from the last tournaments, World Cup shape formations like that, you just cannot undermine their stamina and physicalities and stuff like that, which England probably doesn't have that advantage. They probably cannot match that. So it really comes to substitutions and stuff to trying to recharge yourself while you continue to dominate the possessions. I think this is one thing that you should do. At least you can secure the tie and then trying to find a way to force into the penalty shootout. That would be the better resort because you're playing Argentina. That makes a lot of sense. But you just screw all the things up for the rest of the second half and then let that combat happen. And it was just unacceptable. I would rather in England to trying to force the game as later as possible for playing their playing their identity, like dominated the ball. Because you saw that the first half it was a lot more better England when they had a ball, and then trying to have some long passes, which Argentina cannot really defend pretty well because they didn't have the size. They can only use the rough fouls and something and trying to stop England, which they have to do that. And England should just keep capitalize on the advantage. They had the sights. They had a passing advantage. They had Harry Kane at the front. Just keep and had Jude Bellingham that's like a game changer. Just keep using the up front while you had Elliot Anderson in the midfield. Keep passing the ball around and just keep they just have to like keep picking up all the brains that they learn from Premier League and just keep targeting on Argentina and some of the teams disadvantages and keep doing that. Not just retrieving for the rest of the game when you only have like a one goal lead. Because no matter one goal or two goal, there's no like a determining moment and secure things in football and soccer. Like
Oh yeah,
it's
for
that like
sure.
there's so many historical company either in World Cup or either in Champions League, either in Premier League and any other league. We already saw that in World Cup because Belgium had a really successful comeback when it plays Senegal. I think it's like a 3-2 comeback in the final 5 minutes. It's crazy. So
Oh yeah, Belgium. Yeah, I mean the Belgium against Senegal game was a crazy
yeah,
comeback
that
as
was a
well.
crazy game. Like it's kind of uh probably not a lot of people focus on that game, but for me it was like the same level as the Liverpool's comeback back in 2014 in Istanbul. So also one of your points that stood out, I really don't think Tuchel did a research on Argentina as well.
Yeah, I don't think he said either.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really get it, and so I mean, it's just like, and I just Tuchel's kind of not maybe excuses a little harsh, but his kind of analysis of the game after of saying like, "Oh, I have no regrets." Like really, dude? Like you don't have any regrets that you think you screwed up? Just like, can you please just like admit that like you screwed up and like, hey, I messed up? It just like I'd love to hear that from him. And he said like, "Oh, it's not in England's DNA to be able to control possession." Like, okay, fine, we're not going to be the Spanish team and get like 80% possession, but there's no excuse that you should give up that much possession to an Argentine team when you
Yeah.
already have the freaking lead of the game, dude. Come on. Like, don't give me that excuse. It's not part of the DNA. Well, like, okay, maybe we're not going to dominate possession, but it's ridiculous that you've done the same thing that we've just gotten rid of other managers before to completely shrink back and just try to absorb all the pressure and not maintain any possession. Like, I'm willing to accept that, yeah, maybe we're not going to be a Spanish team in level of possession, but when you go ahead, maybe don't give up 80% of the freaking possession. It's just such a dumb excuse. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, just like it's truly a fireable offense.
And you're already in
Another
semi.
point is just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, does anyone at the FA like really care about? I understand Tuchel's gonna be getting a lot of money, and like I think he did okay outside. I think he did fine outside of just a complete collapse. But does anyone at the FA like care about winning? Does anyone at the English FA want to make a statement saying like, "Hey, we really screwed up"? I mean, like Prince William should maybe just do his job. I mean, I know he's got other things to go on, but maybe he should show one-tenth the interest in the English national team as he does for Villa, given that it's his job to be the head of the English FA and he doesn't have to do anything for Villa, but he still shows up to support them and doesn't really seem to care anything for the English team and if they win or lose. And then just kind of wrap up, I mean, just like I really just, and I feel I don't want to like overly trash Harry Kane here. I mean, he's going to go down as England's all-time, all-around best scorer, but my God, the most unclutched player of all time. I mean, like he truly cannot be considered England's greatest ever player. Just he is so horrifically unclutched. Never is going to win anything major. I mean, like I don't think he should be compared to Bobby Moore, or Bobby Charlton for England's all-time greatest player, given that he has not won anything of note for them. I mean, just like he's never scored a non-penalty goal for them in the round of six, past the round of 16. Just so unclutch. I mean, just nothing, nowhere to be found in the Euro final against Italy in 2021. Missed the penalties that lost him, missed the penalty shot that lost him in the quarterfinals in 2022. He was just unplayable in the Euros 2 years ago in 2024, knowing he wasn't fully healthy, knowing he's kind of hobbled with a bad back, still played and was just basically played with 10 guys out there playing with Harry Kane in the Euros 2 years ago. He was just so unplayable. Nowhere to be found in the quarterfinals against Norway. Luckily, Jude had a heroic performance, and absolutely nowhere again to be found in the semifinals and against Argentina. And just, I mean, like I really, really appreciate all Harry Kane's done for England. He's going to go down as the country's all-around greatest goal scorer, but there's just no world in which he should be considered their greatest ever player, just given that he is just so unclutch, never there in the big moments, and just disappears in the big games, time in and time out. And I'm sorry to say it, and I don't want to like, I understand he's going to be an all-time great goal scorer in the history of soccer, but just such an unclutched player. And it's too bad. I like him a lot. I think he's a good guy, but he just can never be considered an all-time great player for them. He's just never does anything in a big moment. I mean, there's so many wasted spots on Tuchel's team selection. I mean, John Stones was so bad in so many moments. Why no Maguire? I mean, like, I could not have been the only one who saw this coming. I mean, I touched on it, Kevin, when we were doing kind of the squad breakdowns, and I thought that was a really just head scratching decision. I thought Dan Burn was an okay selection, fine, but I mean, like John Stones was so lost in the back line there when Argentina was just running us over. Madueke was a terrible decision. I mean, Jordan Henderson really just a wasted pick, obviously. Then, I mean, like the freak injury aside, just I think a wasted pick. Trevor Shabala didn't see the field. Ivan Toney, wasted pick. Eberechi Eze, not really that effective. I mean, no Cole Palmer. I mean, like the subs in that game, man, too. Again, the Argentina game, not bringing on Saka, not bringing on Rashford. Kobe Mainoo never seen the field. What a disgrace. I mean, that's ridiculous. Kobe Mainoo never seen the field once in this entire World Cup. I mean, what a stupid decision. I mean, I would not blame Kobe Mainoo if he tells Tuchel to go F himself and doesn't even want to play come the Euros 2 years from now. I mean, what a stupid decision, especially when you're giving up that much possession and you don't even want to bring on Kobe Mainoo. Doesn't get like a singular second of playing time in like important World Cup games. I mean, just ridiculous. And it's just kind of the story again and again with the team. There's a very common phrase, Kevin. You know the phrase because it's in Ted Lasso. It's the hope that kills you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, that phrase?
I don't remember, but yeah.
At the end of season 1, when they're playing Man City, in that speech, he says, "You've got a phrase over here that I don't like. It's the hope that kills you." And
Oh,
that's like a very common phrase in English soccer and yeah, within kind of English teams.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking back to it. I mean, just have these images imprinted in my memory. It's just like, man, it just seems like so much just crap we have to take and just so many winnable games that we lose in big moments. Trippier in the fifth minute against the Croatian team in the World Cup semifinals in 2018. Luke Shaw in the second minute in the Euro final against Italy in 21. Cole Palmer, 73rd minute equalizer against Spain in the Euro final in 24. And now Anthony Gordon, the 55th minute, is added to that list with the opening goal against the Argentina team in the semifinal, and then another game that we lost. It's just really, really true. It just really sucks, man. I really don't know, yeah, how that's going to get fixed. I mean, like, I think kind of their last chance for potentially a while could be to win the Euros 2 years from now. Kane's getting older, no clear replacement to him. There doesn't seem to be a great young striker come up. Pickford's getting older, no clear replacement for him. I don't see a great young English goalie who's going to come up. I mean, granted, Jude's going to be good for a while. I think Cole Palmer should be back in the squad and he can be effective. I mean, Anderson Rice will be there for a bit. I mean, the back line's really going to have to change a lot. I mean, sorry, not Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's already tired, but both Stones and Mark Gui are a bit older. Stones especially. Dan Burns quite old. And granted, Maguire's quite old as well. He's not terribly young. I mean, so I mean, Tuchel managed some games really well. I think it's going to be hard for him. I think to have the players and just for him after that's such a bad collapse. I mean, that's something that I think is just mentally hard for you to get over, and I don't know how they're really don't know how they're going to do it. But theoretically, I'll try to hold out a bit of hope that they can. I think they'll still have a pretty good squad on paper for the Euros. It's a home Euros. It's in England. They're going to have some big games at stadiums like in Manchester, Newcastle, London, Birmingham as well. And so, I mean, that's a good opportunity for them. But past the Euros 2 years from now, man, it's going to be tough. It might be tough for them. And I don't know if they are just how they mentally get over that. It's really hard to mentally get over a collapse like that. And I don't know, but that about does it for my England rant, Kevin. So thank you for listening along, everybody. And Kevin, I guess Kevin is kind of my therapist today, just listening to me air out all my issues with the English team. And
I
just,
learned a
man, a
lot.
really bad
Yeah.
collapse. Yeah, just
Yeah.
a bad collapse.
I learned a lot from
Just
you.
disappointing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just about the England's loss and disappointments on paper. I learned a lot from you just because what it means to the fans, what it means to the fan base in England, or even some of the guys like you in the United States who had the England roots, still rooting for the team. I've been disappointed for years. And I think one of also another mistake that Tuchel had after this disappointing loss is just that it was like such a mental breakdown for the whole nation, the whole fan base, and also the organization, the team as well. The morale might be just down to like the lowest point. I don't really know how they're gonna be prepared after 2 years in Euro. Hopefully wins well, but like you mentioned, such a touching line from Ted Lasso, that it was the hope that always kills you. And I think this tournament is kind of it sends differently for me because back back in the era when Southgate was taking over, it was just like that. Like they probably had that mentality, but it was just not right tactically. And but they just can't hold that on mentality or something like that. But come to this tournament, I think the mentality should be right, but it's all adjustable. But Tuchel just messed all the things around, especially the loss to Argentina. Like you can make the change, you can fix that just because you had the ability, you had the capability to fix that, but you just didn't do that well. And I think they really just doesn't have a plan. And also starting from the roots, why why did you have the selections on these 24 squad before the World Cup? Like what is the mindset behind each of the options? And you had Kobe Mainu that the team already played him during the European tournaments 2 years ago, but coming to this World Cup, you didn't have any single minute to such a young and decent midfielder that can maybe just provide some more powers to the England when it comes to the clutch or something like that. Like
Yeah.
there's no plan. Like even there's a no plan, either no plan
Well,
to
I mean,
Argentina and no plan to what are your selections is. Why not playing soccer during the semifinals? And you're already in the semifinals. Why are you trying to reserve? It's semifinal. You should fight until you die.
yeah,
Fight
exactly.
to the end. It's a
It's just such a dumb
semifinals.
decision.
Come
So
on.
yeah.
It's not group stage anymore. It's
And you
not a
mentioned too,
manageable
Kevin.
game.
Yeah.
It's a fight. It's like a one and done situations. And you already had an advantage early in the game in the first half, and it cannot capitalize on that. It doesn't make the sense in the football wise, I would say.
Yeah, and you mentioned too, Kevin, of just how much more physical Argentina was. I mean, just like it was so annoying for me to just see the English team just get bullied like that and not fight back and just seemed like they rolled over just mentally, physically. I mean, I remember one of the Argentine players made a kind of like stood over Pickford and kind of yelled at him, like trying to intimidate him. And like there's so many plays and things like the Argentine team trying to be aggressive and get away with some hard fouls and just get away with some physicality. And just like the English team just kind of wilted, just did not respond. I mean, like if they did that back in the 80s or 90s, like Terry Butcher, one of their, historic great center backs would just like lop somebody's head off if they tried to do that
Yeah.
against the English goalie, some of the moves and some of the like, intimidation they tried to do against Pickford, or even like, John Terry back in the day, and just like we're not afraid to get physical and just like guys like Stones and Gooey and even Burn a little bit. I mean, Jed, I thought Jed was pretty good, so credit to Jed. I'm not gonna crap on him too much, but man, it just seems like yeah, just so many guys and Declan Rice, man, just like I guess Anderson was pretty well to handle physicality, but just so many of these guys just wilted under like just couldn't handle the physicality, and it's so annoying to see. that, I mean, just like looking back at some of our historic players who just were great at handling the physicality and just like it was so annoying to see the team just get physically kind of bullied around and it just really sucked. And yeah, it's just disappointing to be honest, Kevin. But there's always the Euros, there's always next World Cup. So, hopefully something good can happen for me and for the English team.
Yeah, it's coming home, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, so Max, thank you for your England rant. It was really it was really
Of
frustrating.
course, yeah.
I feel the frustration from you, but it's really thoughtful. It's not just your emotions put in there for the rant, but also the theoretically it was kind of it was kind of frustration either for you and for the whole fan base and the nation. And I get that because some of the things from Thomas Tuchel and for the team doesn't really make sense in the football wise. But yeah, hopefully the team can do well after 2 years in European things. If they can make it home, make the footballs coming home, that'll be a huge success for the football since it was invented in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you have to assume they will win a major tournament of either the Euros or the World Cup. I mean, and once they finally break that curse, I mean, it's gonna be such a huge event. I mean, everyone in England's just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a parade, and
I
in
know,
the nation,
yeah.
it's gonna be in Downing Street and some of the places that we travel to. That would
Yeah, I
be
mean, they're
like a
gonna, I'm
huge,
assuming, yeah,
huge
I mean, it's
line.
gonna be,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like we saw with the Spanish team kind of going through, were they in Madrid that they went through in the parade?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm assuming they went to Madrid. It's the capital. I apologize. I didn't follow
yeah,
the parade that close as I was just upset with the English team. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, imagine, yeah, for if and when they finally break that curse and win a major tournament, it's going to be a massive parade in London. And really, that means they should really have a celebration all around the country and like take the trophy around to like Newcastle and Birmingham and Bristol and like
Wow.
Southampton and Liverpool, Manchester. I mean, if I was them, I would just do like a tour with the trophy.
Yeah, national tour and then
Yeah,
have
I mean, like I feel like you have to like give some love to the fans up north and to some of the fans on the coast as well. But the World Cup is wrapped up, Kevin, and so but while all that has been going on, we actually have some transfer news. So
yeah,
I'm kind of intrigued. I think to start off, I mean, Morgan Rogers at Chelsea, and that was such a big fee, 117 million pounds. I mean, just a rec. I mean, breaks the Alexander Isak record, I believe, and just, I mean, man, I mean, like in a record for an English player as well, within the Premier League. 107, and I like Morgan Rogers, but it just points to how crazy the market is as well. I mean, 117 million pounds.
yeah.
It's nuts. Yeah.
It happens during the World Cup. I really appreciate these Premier League teams. They're being undercurrents for all those like transfer moves during the World Cup. Like, how can you reach out to players during the duty like that? So it's crazy to see that went out before England wrap up their World Cup. So it's crazy to see the recovery and like you said, the inflation. It's getting crazy for the
Yeah,
record for the
man.
number.
I mean, think about like the money spent for Isak when I mean, had a good season for Newcastle last year, but like, wasn't really a bona fide consistent star. And we saw just the injury history kind of came back to bite him. I
Yeah.
mean, like Morgan Rogers, I like, but man, you're paying like, this is something you'd pay for like prime Neymar, like what PSG paid for, prime Neymar, or what like, you would have paid for prime Gareth Bale if he ever left Madrid, or what paying for Ronaldo when he left, Man United, or when he left Madrid and went to Juventus. I mean, like, it's just like stuff you'd be paying for guys who are like, or Messi, or, just this like fees that like, not that long ago, you'd only be paying, for like bona fide stars. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like Morgan Rogers is not like a superstar level for now. He just like an emerging star from last season when he played for Aston Villa and had a really good show up and also playing for the England in the World Cup and before the World Cup. He also showed up pretty frequently for the friendlies and international duties and stuff. So he's kind of emerging, but I really feel like the price has been hyped up. But it really makes sense like since couple years ago. It's been a phenomenon in the football world. Like the players being emerged and then the price try to hype the players up. The only questions left is whether the player can kind of hold on that pressure. Like you mentioned, Isak didn't really had a good season last year because of the injury, but I still have faith on him because his World Cup play has been good after the recovery. So we'll see how it goes this season. It might be better, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, and then as well, I mean, like Chelsea spending a lot, and then even though they weren't very good last year, and then man, Spurs were really bad last year, and they're just really trying to spend a lot to not be in that situation where they could be relegated again. I mean, they were the worst non-relegation team 2 seasons in a row. We're
Yeah.
pretty freaking close to getting relegated this season.
Oh my
If,
God.
West Ham had managed, if West Ham had played a little better at the end, or if even if Everton had just beaten Spurs outright come the end of the season, I mean, Spurs would be down right now. But they're, I guess, enjoying life still being in the Premier League because they're spending a lot of money. I mean, they got Andy Robertson on a free transfer. That's a good move. Andy Robertson is still solid. I do think he was pretty poor in the World Cup, kind of given what I thought he could have been. But I mean, still pretty serviceable, still pretty good. A huge fee for Sandro Tonali, and I like Sandro Tonali, but again, man, talk about inflated fees. 100 million British pounds for Sandro Tonali from Newcastle to Spurs. That's a pretty hefty fee there. Van Hecke away from Brighton, 52 mil, and then for Senisse, 85 mil paid Bournemouth. I mean, just a huge amount of money that Spurs are spending after almost getting relegated. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
this is
there's zero excuse for them to be as bad, to be like terrible this year.
yeah, this is a good
Absolutely
thing.
zero excuse.
Yeah. This is a good thing about European soccer is they didn't have a wage cap for sure, which you can
No, I
kind
mean,
of
you can spend all you want, pretty
yeah, you can spend
much.
what you want. And also I think no matter how much they spend for Spurs, they spend good money though, because they've been so bad last season. They've been like narrowly being relegated to the Champions League. But that stands out as a reason why they've been so bad because they are just terrible at every single part of the football. So that's why they kind of just spend running all around to trying to solidify their
I mean, they
spots.
were bad
Yeah,
against
they've been
any
bad at the
opposition.
front. They're just trying to buy the player at the front. They've been bad at the midfield. So they had Tonali as the organizer. They've been bad in the defender. They've been bad in the leadership. So they had Andy Robertson. So they can spend money to buy every single player that definitely worse for the team because they've been terrible in base. So that's
Yeah,
a
I mean, just
really it's pretty solid booster for them. Is like you said, no, really, they really doesn't have an excuse to be that bad again during the
no,
next
I
season.
mean, you've got the manager who the club seems to want in Deserby. He did pretty well at the end of last season, saved him from relegation. So, I mean, like, you've got your manager who you want. You've spent a ton of money this offseason. There's really zero excuse for them to be bad this year. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't think they're going to win the Premier League, and they don't really, I don't think they're, I don't know, I don't think they'll win a trophy, to be honest. But, like,
yeah.
if they're within the relegation conversation next year, they're truly just cursed. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, one of the things that, and they didn't have the pressure to play for the Champions League, so probably that'd be one of the advantage. And those monies being spent from Spurs, they spend it with the purpose because they really wanted to rectify themselves in every single positions on the pitch. So I think it's a smart money spent, and of course a lot of money, but
Yeah,
well, they really have to burst their budget to do that to do the rebuild. So I think it's a
yeah.
good money spent, and obviously big player Tonali. Like even though you don't get Robert, you don't get Senisse, you didn't get others. You had Tonali. That's a big win.
Yeah, and they even
That-
outbid I mean they outbid Man United for Mateus Fernandes as well. The Portuguese midfielder I think is a pretty good prospect who came from West Ham. I mean just like yeah, I mean they've like really signed a lot of guys. I mean, another big signing too, and then this was kind of talked a lot about during the World Cup was Elliot Anderson leaving Nottingham Forest. And that did end up happening for a really big fee of 160 million pounds. That funny enough, that then shortly after was beat out by the Morgan Rogers fee of 117 mil. But I mean, talk about in an inflated market. I like Elliot Anderson, but my God, just like such an inflated market, and it's just crazy what we're seeing. And but I think that's a big addition. It's a good addition for City. I think, Anderson's a real, I do like Anderson quite a lot as a player, and I think that was a really good purchase by
yeah,
City, who obviously, I mean, is never going to run out of money and, can keep doing what they want until either the Premier League or UEFA or somebody finally tells them to, finally punishes them for some of the financial foul play. But I mean, just another very big signing there by Elliot Anderson to go to City.
yeah. Before we wrap up this episode, like we would like to give a round up to our both teams transfer signings and to see the general thoughts on that. Like for sure for Man United, there's only two players that been stood out to me that for the addition they had the Brazilian forward Andrey Santos and also the Belgian captain Tielemans.
Yep.
So I wonder what your thoughts on this, and because we kind of talked about it before the World Cup that Carrick really have to like dive into the transfer windows during the summer to sign a lot of players for Man United.
Yeah, and they just
Yeah.
haven't. Yeah, and yeah, some hope. I really do hope more signings are coming. I don't think they've done enough to really be competitive within this window. I mean, they've lost out on Tonali, lost didn't really weren't ever really competitive for Elliot Anderson, lost out on as well on Mateus Fernandez, both being outbid by Spurs. It's not a good look to be out to, have a club who almost got relegated beat you out for these guys. And I get Man United, I think, is no longer a club that's going to throw a ton of money around and maybe be a little smarter. And I think there's kind of pros and cons to that. But I mean, they really do need to get some more transfers done. I mean, I think maybe they can get Tuchel away from Real Madrid. I think getting Doué would be really smart. And just, as we kind of talk, Kevin, I think even Baleba, or sorry, Manu Kone, or maybe even Doué, Carlos Baleba, I think are all good options. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I just don't think they've quite done enough to like be compet to, come out and have a good shot of competing in the Premier League or a Champions League or, maybe some domestic trophies, what they've done. I think Santos is an okay signing. I think Tielemans is a really, really good signing. I think this is a really smart signing. Um, and I think Tielemans is I'm very positive about them signing Tielemans, but Santos, I think, is an okay signing. And they just, I mean, that can't be all they do. Like, you need to get
Yeah, for
some more
sure.
stuff done. I mean, like we've kind of said, Kevin, or like I've said before, when you look at the Liverpool squad this year and what they're going to be next year, I mean, they still have so many guys who are on the squad that won the Premier League. So you know that like some of these guys are still pretty good. But when you look at Man United, I mean, like they'll probably still need some help with strikers. I mean, given that I think Amad Diallo's fallen off a bit. I mean, they still need some midfield help because Casemiro's left. I mean, they still need help. I mean, Luke Shaw and Diego Dallo, there's definitely improvements for them. Lisandro Martinez is hurt all the time for United. Delight is constantly hurt. Manuel Ugarte is going to be hurt, and he wasn't very good before he got hurt. I mean, there's so many guys on the Man United roster. I mean, Xerxes and just the other guys who just like don't contribute a whole lot to the team, and just like there's better options out there. And like you need to sign more than two guys, and I think they will. But I mean, like I think Tielemans is a good start, but they need to sign more guys than these two guys than these two.
Yeah. So coming to Liverpool, and I don't expect them to sign more players, and it went what I was thinking. So they had Victor Muñoz from Spain national team. Obviously, he didn't play this World Cup, but was in the reserve. That kind of shows that the quality and the value. He's been had like a breakout season with Osasuna in the last La Liga season, having a lot of good plays against Real Madrid and some of the big games like that. Had a really good left winger, so I think it's a really solid backup after Salah leaving the team. And of course, then Chiesa was to keep staying with the team, so I guess Chiesa will get a lot of minutes this upcoming season. So they're not pretty like a star pedigree that can really replace Mohamed Salah, even though in the vintage version. But it's, if they can share the minutes on a court on the field, that would be better because they probably would not focus too much on the left winger under Irola's new system. It would bring back some of a Jurgen Klopp system to having all the teams to press, having all the teams involved in the offense and defense, not just like relying on like a single players. And they also had a really good it's like a promising, I would say. It's not saying good because uh a center back from France, uh Jeremy Jacquet, pretty pretty bad in pronouncing the France name, but the
Yeah, let me
French
take a look.
name,
I can,
yeah,
yeah,
because I think that J wasn't being pronounced J, it's pronounced J or something like that. Jerome,
yeah, Jeremy Jacquet.
yeah, Jeremy Jacquet,
Jacquet.
yeah, from Rennes, and he's been injured a little bit, dealing with a shoulder injury this preseason. He didn't play in the preseason in Nashville. So we'll see how it goes. He's only 20 years, so a lot of way to improve. Definitely would be looking to maybe a backup for Virgil van Dijk because the captain only had 1 year left in the contract. And then recently
Yeah, he's obviously kind of getting towards the end of his career as well. Van
yeah, I
Dijk
guess
is.
so. Yeah. And then you can't forget Leone. Leone from Italy is
Oh
getting,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, is only 19 and maybe ready to turn into 20. He's still dealing with the ACL. Maybe he might be returned next season with like a backup role or maybe even a starting role. So it would still be like a rebuilding process for Liverpool. So even for an upcoming season with a new manager from Spain, I don't think they might be as good as what I expect. Maybe like finishing second, running up, even winning the title. But if they can finish at fourth or five and still keeping the Champions League spots, that would be the solid improvement for me because I feel it's like still like an emerging rebuilding process. Even and then of course they spent a lot of money last off season, so I don't
Yeah.
think it's kind of
I
reasonable for them to kind of secure more players this summer. Even they are closing to get another striker from France. Barco had a really good show up in this World Cup for the French team.
oh yeah, Barcola. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they outbid some of the good teams. I think they outbid even I think for Victor Munoz the Spanish player they outbid Newcastle. You know what? They outbid Newcastle for this player. So it's really interesting to see how he gonna play under the Spanish coach. We'll see maybe like the language is sorting right, maybe the systems will fit right as well. It's one of the mindset from the Spaniard, and the Liverpool was getting some Spaniard again.
Yeah, Kevin, I mean, like we've talked about, I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot of work they need to do this window. And like they just weren't going to be able to spend at that same level like they did last year, especially given how much they spent on Alex Isak. There's
Yeah,
just no way they're gonna, I think there's just no reason or no need for
yeah,
them and
yeah,
probably no way for them either
yeah,
for to like just continue that level of spending. But yeah, I mean, I think they've kind of done what they need to do in the transfer window. While again, my team, I'm kind of looking of like, you guys still need to make some moves here to
yeah,
really kind of, I think, get the team to a point where you're going to consistently win in the Premier League and, maybe make a run for a trophy, maybe even finally, break the drought of Premier League titles, given, our last one was 2013, 12, 13, I believe. Yeah, Ferguson's last year. I mean, like, granted, I mean, the 10-year stretch of of a 10-ish or so year of no Premier League titles is not a big deal for some clubs, like I don't know, like, not to crap on Spurs, but like Spurs have never won a Premier League title. So, like, they're not expecting to win one. Or, if you're like Nottingham Forest, but, for Man United, kind of given the success they've expected under Ferguson, it's like, very much kind of building up the pressure that they haven't won a Premier League title for, more than a decade now. It's the pressure is really building up. And granted, I'm really happy with any season where they win a trophy. I was even happy with last season, just some of the progress they made, even though they didn't really compete for any trophies, but to kind of make that progress from where they were in January to then how they ended the season once Carrick took over, I was happy. But I mean, coming in, what we've seen kind of from Carrick and what we kind of expect from the team, I mean, like, I feel like if people are going to be disappointed if we don't win it, if the team doesn't win a trophy this year, and I'll be disappointed as well. I mean, like you've got a chance in in the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. So you've got four chances to win a trophy. If you win one, I think you count that as a pretty solid season, as a successful season. And so I mean, they still need to make more moves to make that happen. And so I'm hoping that they figure out a way to do something here.
yeah. For both of our teams, like for Man United, like the only thing they have to do in the upcoming season, just trying to prove the spark from last season was not just a fluke. They have to rebuild all that because they have players departures and they probably need at least one or two more like a experience or even like a big name signings before the season starts. And then for Liverpool, what they really just have to stay fit. They have to stay healthy. If they
Yeah, to
can
stay
stay
fit. Yeah.
healthy, anything can be possible. Because I really feel like they already had a really good base. Because seeing they have Frimpong, they have Words, they had like a world-class player, but didn't show out last season with their value because of a lot of inconsistent injury situations and also honest slots pretty messier system, tactical plays that probably players don't buy in. So kind to Iraola, and one of the interesting fact, back in 2013, Liverpool trying to they want Iraola. When Iraola's playing for La Liga, I think I kind of forget what team is playing. I think it's Real Sociedad or they're trying to secure this Basque guy. That's really interesting because back in 2013, I think it's right after uh Rogers and then they're trying to secure this guy. So it's very interesting to see. And then one of like a really cool um full circle moment now. Iraola is as a manager coaching a team that used to want him so bad.
I know,
So
yeah, it's kind of
it's
crazy.
it's really funny storytelling. We'll see how it goes. And obviously, it's pretty young, but he already had a promising showed up with the Bournemouth in the last 2 years. So hopefully, can bring the same system. It just like Arne thought before that it just wasn't wasn't solid enough in the background in the resume, but panning out a really good first season for Liverpool. So I think for Liverpool, they just keep their identity like being overlooked all the times, and they're really comfortable with that to be such a ignored status situations and that, and then just keep trying building things and promises.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just I think it's really much about more consistency for them this year. But I think it should be a very interesting Premier League season coming up. I'm intrigued to see how Arsenal and City continue to do, given that we kind of expect them to always be at the top. I'm hoping maybe Man United, for my sake, can make a run to the top. But then obviously, Kevin, I'm sure you're hoping that Liverpool can reassert some dominance like they had back in 2024. But should be a very interesting Premier League season. And as the World Cup is now kind of wrapped up, obviously me and Kevin now going to be doing some more Premier League previews, kind of seeing what's what. And yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed our episode today, and thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.